Okay, good evening, everybody. So let us start our journey tonight. I believe our journey will be short tonight. We will finish up soon. Okay, so let us go to our schedule first. And everybody should know that in your next test, you will have, in your next class, you will have test 3. Are you ready for test 3? So far I already disclosed all questions, almost all of the questions for test 3. Okay, who are attentive and who gave attention, I believe should understand now what will be the question style in the test 3. But okay, I will review quickly tonight to give you a heads up about test 3. Okay, so if you go to your D2L and then course section, your section is 3, right? I think I did same thing for all sections. So if you go to the discussion board, then you will see that I posted some questions. Okay, you see this one. Okay, nobody responded yet. Okay, so this one, nobody responded yet, no one responded. Okay, that's good. That means my questions are not disclosed yet. If you do not respond, that means we don't know. Okay, about the question style. Okay, so I also added few more. Okay, for instance, here they practice recursive method. For instance, I made here. What are my discussion? I said using your choice of language, C# or Java, write recursive method that receive only first one parameters, an integer n, and that prints out the number 1 to n, maybe in ascending order, or you may, if you understand ascending order, you should know descending order. There is a tiny difference where you will put the print before calling the recursive or after calling the recursive. I discussed in a class. Okay, 1 to n. So this okay. If you understand this, okay, this question is already in the slide, the last slide of the first part of recursion topic. Maybe we have recursion two recursion. Yeah, the recursion, the first one at the end of the first slide. There is a problem like this. Okay, so if you understand how to display number 1 to n in ascending order or descending order, then you should be able to understand how to display number 1 to n squared. 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, right? 1 cube, 2 cube, 3 cube, 1 square root, 2 square root. But be careful about the method's return type. If it's a square root, then return type needs to be float or double, right? For number of a square root might be decimal number. So be careful about that. Then I added more something for extra, factorial of a number, then Fibonacci of a number up to n numbers. So these are for advanced user. Okay, so please do this practice. Okay, so if you do this practice, then you should be comfortable in your test 1. If you understand this question, then you should understand the push and pop, the effect of push and pop methods. And then this is a node. I gave an example. I discussed with the node. A node can be any type. A node can be a bird. A node can be, say, in your assignment you have a bird, right? You have to write a linked list of birds. So we discussed that a linked list, that means a link of list, a list of some linked node. Okay, a list can be a list of birds, a list of books, a list of pencils, a list of people, a list of students. In general, we say node. So whatever a node you are asked to do, you can rename this. You can rename it as a bird or a student, whatever you need. And in your assignment, you said that count how many nodes are created. So put a counter variable over here in counter, integer counter, and when you do append or prepend operation, add the counter by 1 in prepend or append, not in a constructor. In the prepend or append, make increase your counter. And if you delete a node, then decrease the counter by 1 in your delete method. So I added some, I asked you to review this: append, prepend, remove first node, display all nodes, and find by ID. At least practice the first few: append, prepend, remove. Okay, and then please practice about push and pop operation for the stack, and pick is simple. Okay, and QE, there are only two operations, NQE and DQE. You should know this. Okay, and here is a trick. I will wait until tonight. By tomorrow, if I see that you are participating on this discussion board, then I will post more questions. Otherwise, I will not post. Okay? So if you do not participate, that means you don't like me to do this, right? Okay, anyone had any suggestion or any question about test 3? Yes.
Do we have to know how to do the stacks and arrays? We did that in the lab.
No, lab is more in depth. Your lab is more in depth, but for your test, you need to know what is the append operation, what is the depend operation, write the code with node. Maybe you are late for a few seconds, but I discussed that a node can be a bird, a student, a list. List is kind of set, right? You can have any kind of list. A list of a student, a list of tables, a list of universities, a list of countries, a list of birds. Okay. Still in the first class, I spent few minutes, not on an entire class. I spent few minutes that I expected that everybody in my class should know how to use GitHub. Because if you use GitHub, then your life will be easier. I know I am posting all of my codes for you. Sometimes it takes one comment, just a single comment to get the updated code. Git pull origin master, one line, get the latest code. Okay, but I guess still some of you have not installed Git in your computer. And I showed you like only few videos. I recorded some videos so that it's become easy for you to learn. In a Git and GitHub related videos, I have only 10 videos over here. It should not take more than 2 hours for you to practice and to understand these videos. I can guarantee that it takes 2 hours. Just in one lab class. But I guess still some of you have not installed Git and are not using. Okay. So if still you are not using Git and GitHub, then still you will be behind. Ultimately, you need to learn this if you want to do a software engineering or software developer job. There is no alternative. Nobody will ask you to use a flash drive. No company will allow you to use a flash drive. Okay, and what else? Okay, your test will be 45 minutes. we will start right after at 6:30. If you are late, then you will not get extra time. Okay, some people come late. Okay, there will be no makeup test for test 3. If you miss your test, then your final will be equivalently counted for test 3. Okay, so do not request for any makeup for test 3. Okay, you will get one question for recursion, one question from stack, one question from linked list, one question from QE. Then it is stack, linked list, stack, QE 3, recursion method 4. Okay, and then what else? You will get one question for reference parameter, that is C sharp. Okay, reference parameter in C sharp we discussed reference parameter. What is the in the slide? Maybe you have maybe this one. Okay, this is the ref keyword. Okay, the ref keyword is used to do call by reference, execution call by reference. Okay, so this method, if I run this this program, okay, so I have integer a equal to 42 in my main method, and I'm printing a over here, so it is printing 42. Then I'm calling b method b with ref a. Then in the b method I have to define ref in argument here, ref integer x, and it is increasing x by 9. So in the b method a will be 42 plus 9, then it will be 52. Okay, then when b is done, is printing b x over here, that is printing the middle 51. Okay, then over here when it is coming on line number 18, okay, third print, line number 18, so then it is printing again 51. The reason is that call by reference, it is my guest, b is my guest. When I call my guest method, guest is changing host property forever, permanently. Okay, so this is why a is becoming over here again 51. That's it. Everybody understand the ref keyword? No? What is the function? Anyone has any question about ref keyword? Okay, so then likely ref, there is another one that is called out keyword. Out. So in this method, maybe this one is maybe that this one is out. Okay, so this one is out. So out is very similar with ref keyword, but only one difference. For a ref keyword, for a out, if you say out, then this initialization is optional. But in the ref, you see the previous method, you must initialize this. You cannot keep it uninitialized. You cannot keep this. You will see that program will get an error, right? See the red square, that means program is getting error. So then that means you must initialize for a ref. You want to use a variable as a ref, you must initialize in the caller method. But if you want to make it as out, then initialization is optional. So then if I run this program, this one, then it will happen okay, so I did not initialize, so this one is what is happening. For this line, it is printing a, I don't know, so okay, let me change it. That is an output solution. Okay, so then, okay, one thing there. So since I did not initialize here, I cannot use this statement because I did not initialize it. But if I initialize it as previously at 42, right? In our previous program we said 42, then fine. Then if I do this way, then here, see that, remember that? Okay, one thing that in my previous program I said plus equal to. Plus equal to, that means x equal to x plus. I'm sorry. What is the difference? Oh, that does not allow plus equal operator. Okay, no matter, I said 9. Okay, here in my first a equal to 42, then when I call b method without a, then in the b I am making x equal to, reassigning x equal to 9. So it is printing 9 again, okay. So then it is making, after this it will come back to line number 18, then it will print 9 again. That's it. So anyone has any question about ref keyword or out keyword? You understand? Okay. That's almost for the test 3. Okay. Then we are discussing about exception handling. I think we discussed this, right? A real life scenario for exception, and in discuss that how do we handle an exception. In this program we get an exception for line number 7 over here, so it says line number 7, and then we put this within a try and catch block. So I updated my slide. I will ask to put this slide with for the C#. This class is for Java class hierarchy. Object class, throwable, then error exceptions, runtime exception, IO exceptions. These are kind of exceptions, okay? But it's almost similar for C#. Object exception, system exception, application exception. So in Java it says here error and exception, but in C# it says system exception and application exception. You don't need to remember this, to memorize this, but remember the major names. For instance, the argument exception, null reference exception, for instance, invalid operation. Some just, if you are working on C#, then ultimately you will be familiar with this name. But you don't need to memorize actually the list. But ultimately you will be familiar with this, okay? Okay, then we discuss try and catch block, how to enclose the suspected codes within a try block and put one or more catch statements to handle the catch operations, to handle the exceptions. There might have multiple catch statements, right? For only one single try block. This catch statement must be different in terms of the argument. In the argument you will put the exception type. That's it. We discussed this, and we discussed checked. We started maybe discussing checked and unchecked exceptions. So unchecked exception are the exception of runtime exceptions and then errors. And then checked exception is IO exception, illegal access exception, class not found exception, this type. Okay. So for the advanced students, I added some interview questions, so you can go through this. Okay, and then what did I leave? And do anybody remember what did I leave in last class? If I do not remember, if anybody cannot remember, I will go through from here. Okay, so then we discussed in our last class, so maybe throws. Throws is used instead of using try-catch block. Instead of using try-catch block, we use throw. Throw is used when you see that there is a suspected code. When you use a suspected method, for instance, this one, my suspected method is read line over here. A read line is used to actually to get some data from keyboard. So when you are about to insert some data from keyboard, there is a possibility that you will do a mistake. For instance, if you were intended to enter an integer number, you may enter a character by mistake. You may enter a float or double that does not match with the data type. So this is why in the programming, so when you ask this, use this readline method, you need to enclose this statement within a try-catch block, or you use throws. Okay, throws keyword. The throws keyword is says try and catch block, or the method is this one that I discussed. Okay, code that might generate a checked exception. Okay, checked exception are the exceptions that are of type. Unchecked exception are that are error or runtime exception. In our first program, we discussed when this one is an unchecked exception. This exception is an unchecked exception. So even if you do not enclose this within a try-catch block, handle this. If you do not handle this exception, your program will be fine. Will not compile. Will be compiled. It will not show an error message, but it will show an error message when you want to run it. This is called an unchecked exception. But that one is a checked exception, because this exception you must handle this exception. There are two ways in Java. You will use either throws keyword and throws the exception type within the method header line, or otherwise, if you do not use throw statement, then what it will do, you will use try or catch block. You see that there is showing an error. There are two options. Either as throws a declaration. If I select this one, it is that one, the first option that I already did. Throws IO exception. Okay. But if you do not select that one, there is another option that surround with try-catch block. This statement, if I select this one, you see that automatically it is surrounded this code. This code is surrounded within a try-catch block, but there is an error over here. What is the error it says? So initialized variable, the local variable s must not be initialized. If I say initialized variable, okay, that's good. So then s is needs to be initialized. That's good. This is actually a checked exception. Okay, then in Java there is a throws keyword, but in C# there is no throws keyword. Okay, I will go through this program in C# quickly. Okay, so this is the point I left in last class. So if we go in C# C sharp. So people who are in C sharp, how many of you are taking C sharp lab here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So in my GitHub account, so if you go to my GitHub account, GitHub CSITed, then repository, then this one, you see, maybe this one, CSE1322 lectures C sharp. CS means C sharp. If you go to this project, you see that all of the project I discussed in this class, I have C sharp version. So please download this code. For instance, all of this code you have. For instance, the recursion method, the linked list. Okay, the linked list. What is that called? Recursion, exception. Okay, almost all of the programs, the abstract class I discussed, and then I put on this, okay, in this project. So let me run it. Which one? I don't feel comfortable with C sharp because every time I need to change the startup project, and it does not allow to put more than one main method in a program. So every time I need to create a new project. Discussing this is why I don't feel comfortable. So okay, so the linked list program implementation is here. Okay, singly linked list is here. The C sharp version of corresponding program is here. For stack, the program is here. For QE, I should have QE also. Stack. Okay, QE is here. Okay, then what I was discussing today, exception, right? Okay. Okay, exception. Close all but this. Okay. So this is my code. The corresponding Java code is here. The corresponding Java code, and this is corresponding C sharp code for exception. So this program will occur an exception on line number 16, right? Over here. So if I run this program, it's running C sharp is difficult. I need to change, start a project every time. You understand what happened? Did you guess what happened? There is an exception, right? So my program halts here. So it says I can change the setup of exception, but it will not run. It says by default it will break. It will be stopped over here. So but Java, luckily it runs and it shows exception. Okay. So in this line I have exception, right? Okay. So then I need to handle this exception. Let me see. I handle this exception on this program with a try catch block in my Java code. The corresponding C sharp code will be here. So this one I need to make. How do I make it? I need to make it as Whoops! I don't feel comfortable. Okay, I want to make this as a runner, as a startup. How can I make the start? Okay, still it is getting my this one as my runner. This one? Middle bar of what? Where? This one? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, I can do that, but I want to do from here. If you do right click, okay, here. Set as a start of project. Here it is. If I do right click, then set as a start of project. I can do here. Okay. So then if I do this one, it's time consuming for me. Okay. Oh, what's my output? My output window is hidden, right? What is my console? How do I get my console? Window. I messed up. How do I get console? Huh? Yeah? Not in this command prompt. View. What is that one? Do you know? C# people. Who are the C# experts here? Control F5. Control F5. Not sure why I'm getting this one. Let me close this. Do you want to stop? Oh, it went to debugging mode. Sorry, let me open it. Okay. Okay, I got it. Okay, so if I run this one, okay, I'm lucky that I got it. Okay, so in this program, I put I'm sorry, I did not open the right program because all of the programs I have same name programs dot. Okay, this one, right? Okay, but this one I enclose this statement within a try and catch block, and I put this over here. Okay, so there is a little difference in C# and Java. Okay, so here you see that I use exception dot track trace. The difference between C# and Java is that in Java we use print track trace method. Okay, but here in C# we call this way ex dot track trace. It is an enum, right? It is an enumerator. So people who are taking C#, I think, should understand. And then if you want to make display message, that's an ex dot message. There's a little bit difference between Java and C#, okay? But you have the code. Okay, that's it. There is a little bit difference. Okay, and what else? And then we are discussing throws, right? Okay, in C# there is no throws keyword. Okay, in C# we can use throw keyword. Oh, let us go through this one exception. One throw keyword. So let us think that we have a student class, and my student ID. Okay, and then it is getter and setter. In C# it is easy, right? I just write get and set. No more code. and student ID and name. That's it, 2 fields, and with getter and setter. Okay, then my program is said, for instance, if I do not have any student, or if my student is null, then I want to throw an exception. You see they use throw keyword. We say throw new null reference exception. And in some languages it says null pointer exception. In C++ or also maybe in Java, it says null pointer exception. Okay, different name a little bit. So if you run this program, okay. Then for I said ex dot track trace, so that is the effect of this line. Okay, and then it says ex dot message, that is the effect of this line. And I say this one actually. This one. Print student name std, so this is the effect of this line. It says student object is null because this line is here. What is the method I'm giving? A message I'm passing. This message is if it finds an exception, then it will throw this exception. Okay. So there is a little bit difference between C# and in and Java, and then again I mentioned that in C# there is no throws keyword, so you only need to use try and catch block in C#. Okay, what else I do have? Okay, I have another example for throws keyword. Let me see. Okay, I like you to get this code and do some practice. So it says throws when we say, actually same thing we discussed previously. And the last thing that tonight I want to discuss is called custom exception, or designing your new own exception type. Sometimes, as you see that in both C# and C and Java, there are some existing exception classes, right? But still, sometimes these are not sufficient for developing an application, a robust application. So if you want to, when you work in a company, even most of the companies, they like that in their error message, it will show their own logo or their own customized message, right? Not in the built-in message that is built in the programming language, right? Most of the companies, they like. So in order to do that, you need to understand how to create your own exception class. So far, whatever I have discussed, if you understand this at this point, then creating a new exception class is not a big deal. Okay, but please don't jump over here right away. If you jump over here right away, you will not understand, because you have to understand from the beginning what is an exception, how to handle it, how to catch it. Okay, and then we use two things you need to do. You need to create an exception class. Okay, and in the exception class you need to create a method with whatever you want to do with this method, and then you have to throw that exception, like by this way, throw new, my exception name and my message over here. I already maybe discussed this. It's more likely here. I already discussed where in this method. You see here, new null reference exception. So this null reference exception is built in within the system. So, but if this null reference exception is not built in, was not built in the system, then you have to create this class first. That is what it is said here. So you need to create that class, and then you need to do, then after you create, then you can throw that one. Okay. So actually that was the last here. It is maybe C# code. Okay, that's good. But I have a complete program here. That is a code snippet. You know, you cannot run this code. You cannot run this code snippet. It is not a complete program. It is not a complete program. Okay, they do not put complete program, but I added complete program here. Which one is exception, custom exception? Let me make it as a startup program, and let me show you what I have here. Here I have a student class. It's very simple. Student class, it has student ID and with getter and setter. Okay, and student name with getter and setter, and this is my main program. So in my main program, I want to check two things: whether my name, okay, for instance, here in the try block, I am creating a student object, new student, okay, equal to new student, for instance, and student or student name, I am putting Mokhtar Hussain as a student. So this is a valid name. But for instance, instead of put MO, if I put M0, this is actually an invalid name, right? For writing a name, people do not use number, right? So if instead of 0, if I put, instead of O, if I put 0, so this is an invalid, right? So for instance, if someone or me do a mistake in writing name, if I do a mistake here, so then I should, in a program, I should be given an exception message that, okay, you have an invalid name, right? Or something I can do for when I type a phone number. When I type a phone number, in general, phone number does not contain a character. Although there are some 800 numbers have characters, we are not discussing that. Regular phone number, non-customized. Okay, so that in this class I have, so like math student name. This is my method actually. Math student name. Static method. I am calling over here in the math student name over here. For instance, I am checking whether my given name is equal to my name. So in C#, this is equals method is like this. So then if it is not equal, my given name is not equal to my name, then I want to throw an exception, new mismatch student name exception. So this is a customized exception type. The program does not have this exception. So what I need to do, I need to create my own class, mismatch student name exception. I need to create my own class. This is my class, and this class will inherit exception class. This is the thing, you must use this. Okay, you must use this, otherwise it will not work. Then in this method, in this class I have a method. So this is the mismatch student name exception. So whatever I name, I provide. So if it will do like this. So this is calling the base class. What is the base class over here? In this program, in this class, which one is the base class and which one is the child class? Yes, exception is the base class, right? So exception in the base class has this method, the base, and then string, it called format, mismatch, student name, 0, for instance, name time, blah blah, something to like this. Okay. Then if I run this program, then if my name does not match My name I put here M0. Remember that? Okay, let me do this. Mukhtar and then without space. Okay. The first one is without space and I have here with space. So this should not match, right? Not equal. So if I run this, I should get an exception of mismatch name. It says that. You see that? So it is throwing this exception. It says mismatch student name. Okay, exception. It says mismatch student name. You see that it is showing this. Okay. That means this name did not match with the name that I was expecting. So where is this message came from? It came from this mismatch student name here, or the name I'm putting over here. So in order to create a customized exception, you really need to understand the previous steps well. Otherwise, you should not. For your test, you don't need this, okay? And I'm teaching this for advanced users. Sometimes you will be advanced. You will be an advanced programmer. Some of or many of you, right? So you will need this. Okay. Similarly, for instance, I may have another exception. Okay, for this one, it says invalid student name exception. What do I have here? Let me see. Oh, so in a regex is called a regular expression. Maybe you will understand this in your data structure class. Sometimes we check whether this is a valid phone number or not, whether this is a valid social security number or not. Not checking whether it is an A and exactly, but pattern, we are checking pattern. For a social security number, we have a like pattern, right? 1, 2, 3, then a dash, then again 2 number, then again 1 dash, and again 4 numbers, right? This is a pattern of a social security number, right? So SS and pattern. So whatever you can give, for instance, this 1, 2, 3, any digit from 0 to 9, or any digit from 0 to 9, between it must be a dash, not a plus sign, not a space or something, not a star. So sometimes we need to check this pattern. It is called regex, regular expression. In most of the languages like C#, there is a regex regular expression class in the system.text, this built-in class. So if we import in C#, instead of using import that we use in Java, we use using keyword, using this regex. We checked over here whether this is a valid name. Valid name means a valid name will take only A to G, only the characters A to G, in either in uppercase or lowercase, nothing else. So it will not take any number. So in my program, so if I give this name, okay, so instead of 0, instead of O, if I put 0, then it should be an invalid name, right? So our name does not contain a number by default, according to our method, to validate a name. So in order to have validity check of a name, so if I do this way, I should get this message, because here name should be fine equal. Okay, I should get both actually. Okay, let me make it this 0. I want to get only one exception here, this one. Let me see. So now it says invalid student name, right? That invalid student name is coming from this here. It says from this method. It says invalid student name. What did I have? But this method I did have mismatch student name. Okay, and this method I have invalid student name. You see here. So different. So now remember that my this exception is calling from this class. So again, if I run it, so I'm getting invalid student name. Now I want to try. I did not try, but I cannot remember. I want to try whether I get both of the exceptions, because in the catch block you see that I have two exceptions, mismatch and invalidity check. Let me run it last time. I'm not sure why I got a 1. I'm expecting that I should get both. If I do not do this, what is the command of group comment out in C#? I'm sorry, it's getting an error message. Then I don't need this. Okay, now I got invalid student name. Okay, anyone has any question about C# or Java? So I want to wrap up this chapter. Okay, so this is an advanced level interview question. What is the difference between throw and throws keyword? This is in Java, because in C# there is no throws keyword. Okay, and there is another advanced level interview question. What is the difference between final and finally keyword? The final keyword is used in order to declare a constant. We do final, static final, like this way. Okay, and finally is a block. You remember that finally block is executed whether an exception happen or does not happen, right? Okay, and the finalize, maybe we did not discuss this finalize. That was not in this syllabus. Finalize actually is used to do garbage collection. Java automatically does garbage collection. So unless you do high level programming, you will not use this finalize keyword. These are the interview questions. Okay, so the finally actually this we discussed this real life scenario for exception handling, right? This finally block is like emergency lane in the freeway. So anyone has any question about exception handling? I really like everybody to do practice. This is a swimming class. Okay, it's kind of swimming class. If you read no matter how many swimming theory books, how to swim, but you do not dive into water, either a pond or a river, okay, or even what is it called, a swimming pool. Is there any way that you would learn how to swim? No. So this class is a swimming class, right? If you do not practice, then you will not learn. Okay. So I have I'm putting almost every day. I'm spending some time an hour or sometimes 30 minutes, 20 minutes to put my lecture videos on YouTube. But I'm not sure how many of you really watch this. Okay. So if you, I like to watch it again and again, because you will see that you may not understand something today right now, but if you re-watch this video, then you will understand better. Sometime maybe when you drive or when you have extra time, you can watch these videos. I watch some videos while I'm driving, because then you need to be careful. That sometimes if you watch a video 2 times, 3 times, then you don't need to see. You don't need to see the picture. Look at that. Just you can, if you hear, then you can remember some stuff. So that way, but don't do an accident and blame me. Okay. 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 So I want to wrap up to today's class. Anyone has any question? So let me see. So far we have covered exception handling. Okay. And then next week is our test. Next class is our test. And after that, we will get only one class for file operation. Okay. And then after that we have thread and parallel processing. Maybe I need to move parallel processing next time, because if I cannot finish file operation in one class, one lecture, I need to move it here. After that you have spring break. Okay. I have completed about 80% of this course. Okay. I like you that in your spring break, for now study for the test 3, okay. But spring break, please review the lecture videos, especially that these stuff, week 3 to actually 3 to 10. These are the heart of this program, of this course. You will understand that, then you will pass in an interview. Okay, good luck. Anybody has any question? Okay, so if you have